You know that tiny SIM card you have to pop into your phone? Well, its days are numbered. It's being replaced by something called an eSIM. Now, the promise is this amazing future of super smooth connectivity. The reality, though? It's a little different. It's a present full of frustrating problems that can literally leave you completely disconnected. So let's break down why this awesome new tech is causing so much chaos. So for real, is this it? Is this the end of the line for that little plastic card we've all been using for decades? I mean, the entire industry is pushing hard for an all-digital future. But as we're about to see, that switch, yeah, it's proving to be anything but simple. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, what even is an eSIM? Then, we'll dive into all the frustrations that people are running into right now. We'll separate the real pros and cons from the myths, check out the big showdown between iPhone and Android, and then wrap it all up by looking at where this is all inevitably headed. Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. Before we can really get into the problems, we have to know what we're actually talking about. So an eSIM, which stands for embedded SIM, isn't a card you can actually hold. It's a tiny, reprogrammable chip that's permanently built right into your phone's hardware. So instead of fiddling with a paperclip to pop out a little plastic tray, you just download your cellular plan directly to the phone, kind of like downloading an app. And when you put them side by side, the differences are huge. A physical SIM, you've got to physically put it in. An eSIM, it's just a download. Want to switch carriers? Forget waiting for a new card in the mail. You just download a new profile. And get this, a phone might hold one, maybe two physical SIMs. An eSIM can store 8 or even more profiles at once. So on paper, this sounds fantastic, more flexible, and way more secure. But that's the promise. The reality for so many people jumping in early has been a future filled with frustration. It feels like the technology is ready, but the back-end systems that are supposed to support it just haven't caught up. And this experience from tech reporter Ryan Whitwam really just hits the nail on the head. A process that should be completely simple, like moving your number to a new phone, can become an absolute nightmare that leaves you totally disconnected. It is the perfect example of the gap between this tech's potential and its current, very messy reality. And here's one of the most maddening problems, what I call the verification catch-22. So imagine this. Your eSIM transfer fails and poof, your phone line is deactivated. Okay, so you call customer support. But to prove it's really you, their security system has to send you a verification code via SMS, a text, to the phone number that is currently not working. You see the problem? You're completely trapped in an impossible loop. And this isn't just some isolated issue. The biggest complaints from users are pretty widespread. We're seeing failed transfers all the time, those infuriating verification loops, major disruptions for travelers when a local eSIM won't activate, and just constant headaches over which devices work with which carriers. This is a huge pain, especially for people who are forced onto eSIM-only phones, like anyone with a recent iPhone in the US. But, it's not all bad. To get the complete picture, we really need to separate the real pros and cons from some of the myths that are still flowing around out there. On the plus side, the convenience is incredible, especially for travelers. You can download a local plan in minutes right after you land. And they're more secure since they can't be physically lost or stolen. But on the downside, compatibility is still a bit spotty, switching phones can be a real pain, and when something does go wrong, you can't just pop the SIM into another device to see if it's the card or the phone. Now, let's bust a few common myths. A lot of people worry that eSIMs give you slower speeds, or drain your battery faster, or use more data. That's all false. An eSIM is just a different way of logging into the network. Your speed, your battery life, your data usage, that all comes down to your carrier and your phone, not the type of SIM. In fact, like we've seen, they are arguably more secure. A huge part of your eSIM experience comes down to what phone you're using. The way Apple and Google have implemented this technology is fundamentally different. With Apple, you get a very consistent, tightly controlled experience. They have this exclusive transfer feature, and they really force the issue in the US by just getting rid of the physical SIM tray altogether. Android, on the other hand, is a bit more fragmented. Your experience really depends on if you have a Samsung or Pixel or another brand. Now, this gives you more choice and flexibility. Most Android phones still have a physical SIM slot as a backup, but it just lacks that seamless integration of the iPhone ecosystem. And the iPhone's biggest advantage right now is this feature called Quick Transfer. It is seriously slick. It lets you move your eSIM profile from an old iPhone to a new one directly, just using Bluetooth. You completely bypass the carrier, no QR codes, no phone calls to customer service. For now, it's a seamless experience that Android just can't match. So despite all of these current headaches, let's be clear, the move to eSIM is inevitable. So let's look at where all this is heading and what the future of secure connectivity is really going to look like. This shift to digital also means a shift in security risks. With physical SIMs, you had to worry about someone physically stealing the card or cloning it. Well, eSIMs solve that, but they introduce new digital threats. Now the danger is phishing attacks that try to trick you into sharing a QR code, or scams where a hacker impersonates you to your carrier to steal your number. The threat is basically moving from your pocket to your inbox. And this push forward is relentless. According to projections from the GSMA, by the end of 2025, a full 60% of all smartphones will incorporate eSIM technology. This isn't some niche feature anymore. It is rapidly becoming the industry standard. The momentum is just undeniable. Which brings us to our final big question. The technology is here, and its adoption is soaring. But are the support systems, the carrier protocols, the customer service training, the security standards, are they all ready for prime time? eSIMs are clearly the future, but the real question is, how bumpy is the road going to be to get us there?